everyone. Welcome to this new episode of The Inner Child Speaks. So today we have with us Anuksha Karkaria. Anuksha happens to be a movement therapist. She also is a psychologist, a psychotherapist, a family constellation facilitator, as well as an expressive art therapist. So Anuksha, very nice and warm welcome to you here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So good to be here.
Thank you
Always
so
good
much for
to be
making
here,
time.
of course.
So, Anuksha, we have a couple of questions for you because this is a series that where we ask people about their own practices, about inner child healing, if they have gone through it themselves. So, Anuksha, you happen to be a movement practitioner, right?
Yeah.
And you are also trained in expressive art therapy.
Mm.
So, how do you see inner child healing or inner child work in the light of your own private practice?
Yeah. So I have found very interesting ways to match my work
Mm-hmm.
with inner child therapy work because I felt like both these parts or both these ways of working are very non-directive with the client.
Mm-hmm.
They tap into a area tap into a psyche which is sort of maybe hidden away
Right.
that the individual has gone through.
Mm,
So I felt like it almost goes hand in hand for me. So
mm,
whenever I have done inner child therapy work, I have been able to use some of the art practices that I have been used to working with my clients.
that's
Also, when somebody approaches me for expressive art therapy workshop,
mm,
there are always ways that I could introduce maybe a short exercise, a short way for them to enter some parts of themselves which
right.
are and like you've explained to us that there are um, two three vital questions that I can ask the client and
Mm,
to an experience which is from their past, right?
right, right.
And in there, when they are exploring that area, I have introduced artwork, or I have asked people to bring back something from that experience if they don't want to go through the entire
Mm,
IC process, because that also can be very difficult for a few clients that I've worked with,
correct.
especially through trauma. So
Right,
I have done bits and pieces of it. Sometimes I've done the whole process, which is
right.
uh, I have been able to mix things up.
So you've been able to
Uh,
merge them, right? Inner child work with
yes,
other forms of therapeutic modality.
yes, absolutely. In fact, some of the times when there's an image that the person who's gone through inner child therapy comes back with,
Right.
right? And then we are able to explore that image with our colors and chart papers,
Right.
or I hold that image and then we make that image bigger.
Bigger.
We make a scenery around it. We
Mm,
make the entire scene come alive, you know
mm,
or sometimes I've been able to make it really really small,
right.
or sometimes what happens is that this is an experience that I'm stating from a client, that we go back to an experience
Mhm.
and the person wants to come back, they don't want to experience the whole thing. So I obviously go through the experience, whatever is required for the IC process, I go through it. But I
Mm,
also ask them to, because it is not done, I ask them to bring back something from that scene
right.
and back that object, and we explore that object in the current state. So I feel like there have been different ways that I've been able to
A
merge this.
beautiful amalgamation, I see. Beautiful
Thank
amalgamation. Great. You have also been a part of our inner child workshop, when we used to conduct it in person back in 2018. So, if you could tell our viewers about how was your experience with the workshop back then?
Yeah, it was beautiful. I mean, you know it, that I've shared with you also, that that it was um I wasn't aware of inner child so much, even though I've read about it, but I didn't know experientially how
Mm,
it would be. I feel like it gave me a big tool or a process to work with when I go
mm,
to my clients, right?
right.
Like I feel like say with expressive art therapy, there are certain tools that I bring back and I'm able to work with that with the individuals and the groups.
Mm,
So with inner child, I got a proper process. There were like the A B C Ds of
right.
inner child work that I could visit. So that is what I got at your workshop. And it was highly informative for me. And it was like a deep, it was a very deep experience,
Yeah.
because in one of the um, and, in on the third day, I think I was one of the volunteers for the
I
inner child.
exactly wanted to ask you that
Yes,
you
yeah.
went through the process yourself, and that's why, how does it feel to go through a full-fledged regression into the inner child? Because as you know that we also give demonstrations in our workshop, and we invite participants to go through the process. So how was the process personally for you?
uh, I think it, if I had to say it in one sentence
Hmm,
before I start, I feel like I felt very light and resolved because it was around weight that I was feeling. Eh,
hmm, hmm,
Um, Not just physically, but just generally, I was feeling a lot of weight. And it was a deeply, I feel like it was a very therapeutic process because
hmm,
it was cathartic. At
hmm,
the same time, I felt there was a relaxation that happened, like a release that happened.
hmm,
And I visited a part of me which was deeply traumatic for me.
hmm, hmm,
And it was something that, of course, I've worked with, people, or
hmm, hmm.
because of my spiritual practice, this has come up.
Yeah,
But it wasn't like I wasn't putting like a torch on it, you
yeah.
know. I see work in a child work. I got a chance to, with you, I got a chance to visit it,
Hmm.
explore it, and it felt very safe.
Safe. Yeah.
Because I've known you, I guess, for some. I mean, I've known you through this practice, so I could, rely on you.
Hmm,
At
hmm.
the same time, the space also felt quite safe for me to explore
Right.
that.
Right, right. We are trying to create that whole space in an online way now. But before I go into that, because you said, Anuksha, you also happen to be a deeply spiritual person with your own spiritual practices. So, do you feel that inner child work is also a spiritual process in itself? Would you say that?
Yeah, and it has also been established, I think, by
Mhm.
Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So
Vietnamese
uh,
monk. Yes.
yes, the yeah. So it's been established by him that it is a deeply spiritual process,
Hmm.
and I agree to it to a huge extent, but there's a but here. Like I believe it is deeply spiritual because it, not it's healing, I would say.
Right. Right.
And spiritual for like somebody who believes in spirituality to be in like reaching like a higher state. Of course, that's
Right.
most people understand spirituality to be like that. So it helps you sort of, what I've experienced is that unburden, like let go
Hmm.
of layers within you,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
is possible for you to experience through inner child work, because very consciously, unconsciously, we burden ourselves or we layer ourselves
Hmm.
with certain things, which, in a safe process like this, you're able to let go.
Let go.
Yeah, but why I said the but is because the the school of spirituality that I have been
Hmm.
introduced to, which is Advaita, which does not believe in the existence of an individual identity. So
Hmm.
then the inner child work, you will have a different take on it,
On it.
but work maybe might not apply there.
Right. Right.
This.
Right. Though, as in a general spiritual term, as in people are able to connect deeper into their own self, they're able to reach higher states of awareness for themselves. So that way, spiritual we meant. As you
Yes,
all.
definitely, for sure, because I feel like it gives it almost, it helps you be aware of
Mhm,
parts of yourself that, even through, I've seen with my clients, whoever I worked with, that they are able to go to parts of themselves which they have not visited for years. They
mhm,
might have even consciously forgotten about it. But somehow, in that 1 hour, in that exercise, parts of themselves are relived
mhm.
very magically, almost that the space does the work.
Right.
I've always felt like I have only been a facilitator, but I've not done the work really.
Mm, mm, mm.
it is so it's a deeply, it's a beautiful experience for
Right.
me to, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that part. It's important for people to know how people feel when they go through the process themselves. So we have this a new certificate program on inner child healing coming up from July onwards. We are starting on July 7th. It's a 6-month long program with one class every month. There will be 6 classes in total with 3 support sessions and 3 demonstrations. So this is an ambitious project because we are trying to reach out to as many people as we can. And
Mm.
because it's online, it's way more accessible for people to, come in and join this program. So from you specifically, I would want to know what would be your advice to people who are from practitioners who are from different therapeutic fields, like you happen to be a movement therapist, expressive arts therapist. What will be your suggestion to all of those people who come from different fields of psychotherapy in a way to learn this process and integrate it with their own practice? Why
Yeah.
should they do this work or do this program?
So I feel like even in the area of work that we are in as mental health experts, or emotional well-being experts, I
Mhm.
feel like it generally asked of us to be very open.
Open, yeah.
So because there is not, I believe that there's not one thing that works for a particular person. There could be
Right.
several, right? So in me being willing to learn and being open, I was able to absorb a lot through
Mm,
the inner child work, even though that is not something that I have maybe uh, like not learned as a part of my education so much.
mm,
But
mm.
I deeply believe in alternative therapies, or expressive art is also something that I've not learned as a psychology graduate or in my during my masters. Um, but I was able to beautifully integrate that with my mainstream work,
Extreme
whatever
work.
I.
Yeah, yeah,
I gives it just expands your scope of work, and it helps you relate to your clients. And I love working clients in a bigger way.
right.
And I genuinely love working with trauma resolution and trauma work and
Mm,
people. So for me this has been extremely
right,
helpful.
right. Anuksha, you also happen to have an organization called HealCare Network, right? So you are a therapist, you are facilitating other therapists, other practitioners, and you yourself have a private practice running. And there are a lot of nonprofit work also which you do through your organization. If you could tell a little bit about that Instagram handle, Facebook handle, so that people can reach out to you even through this video.
Thank you, thank you. So the net, my company is called HealCare, and the Instagram handle is HealCare Network, and
Mm,
on Facebook we are also HealCare Network. So we are aiming to be a community of integrated health, experts and therapists. So by integrated, I mean there are people who worked on mental health. There are people who will be working on emotional well-being, people who work on body transformation as well as disease reversal.
right.
But the ways of working with people could be like, I know you as a medical doctor and as a family constellation and a regression therapist, you work with people on disease reversal
Mm,
or removing certain physical ailments that they have uh, uh, suffered from for many
yeah.
years. So the idea is to bring people like you onto the fore,
Mm,
to talk about more of these practices, because sometimes it's not just through medicine that healing happens.
absolutely.
Different ways for people to heal parts of themselves. So as the name suggests, we are intending to be a community of healers,
Mm, mm,
well-being experts, mental health experts, plant-based therapists,
mm.
so people from different walks, uh, almost working towards the same goal.
Same goal. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I do believe that people should be able to reach out to you and to HealCare Network so that they could also actively and directly work with you. But thank you so much for making it to this interview and contributing to our series of episodes on the Inner Child Speaks. Thank you so much, Anuksha, for coming in.
You.